Okay, guys, welcome back to another stream. There we go. Okay, guys, welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you are enjoying the content, please be sure to drop. There we go. A bit to the right there. Make sure you do drop a like if you are enjoying the content. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. And of course, make sure you do go hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Trades Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that in the description below, and also you can find it at the top of the chat. You can find updates there regarding Elevating Traders, more information. You can join discussions, chat with other traders, myself. I share ideas there, so do other people. So if you're looking to participate, join discussions, share your own ideas, you can find all of that and more in the Discord channel. So go check it out. Link in the description and also at the top of the chat. But good morning, everyone. We'll go through USD side of things first. Take a look at the dollar. Take a look at USD majors. Take a look at gold, silver. Probably go through some indices as well. If there are any particular requests or charts or timeframes you do want me to look at, just drop it in the chat and we will have a look-see together. What's up, Gorish? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good morning. Good morning. Lighten, as always, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Welcome, welcome. So, first things first, DXY dollar. So, I've been pretty bearish on this one. Of course, really big move to the downside last week. And I do expect more of the same. Of course, retracements and pullbacks, I'm expecting that as well. But in terms of the bigger move there for the dollar, I'm looking at price coming back into this region around 101, 100.5 in the next maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks. Depends how long we spend having a bit of a pullback. But with momentum we saw last week, there's a good chance we do end up at that level. So my plan is very much just focusing on shorting the dollar. So any opportunity I'm looking at regarding USD is looking to short USD. Of course, at the moment, the market's had a big drop, so it's a bit overextended. So I'm not really interested about selling the market right now. I do want to see a bit of a retracement before I do think about looking to short the dollar. And of course, a few areas I'm keeping a close eye on. I do originally like this area here because that's the level we broke through. And I hadn't really seen a retest of. So a retest of that area would be great. But because it's so far away, I don't think price is going to pull back all that way to retest that level before continuing. So there's a couple of areas I'm looking at besides that level there. I'm also looking at this level here at 105.5. This is a bit more reasonable. We can probably see a retracement there. And this level here is well a bit more of a minor level. But this one probably has the highest probability of actually seeing a retracement. Not the most significant level you ever see, but judging momentum and how price is looking, it's probably a realistic expectation for us to pull back, test 104.5, and perhaps to see the continuation. If we do see a bigger pullback, great. My preferred level would be 105.6 up here. That would be my preferred area for a pullback. But like I said, there's so much momentum in the market. We may not see enough juice to the upside to actually reach that level. But you can see it's a healthy pullback, more or less coming to the 50 of the fib there. There's a healthy pullback for the market. But yeah, let's see if the dollar will give us that. At the moment, we are still looking pretty bearish. We just took out the lows this morning, but we are becoming a bit more corrective. You can see we are losing momentum here. So as this continues, I do think a pullback will happen pretty soon. Of course, if you can compare the price action we had last week, bearish candle after bearish candle, now we're seeing a little bit more wicks, a bit more consolidation. So things are becoming a bit more tiresome, and perhaps a pullback is around the corner there for the dollar. In terms of Euro USD, pretty much the exact same analysis, just flipped pretty much. Again, you can see we're becoming a bit more corrective now. So again, a sign that Euro is running out a bit of steam, or perhaps we are going to go for a bit of a pullback at some stage. But again, I'm not really interested in the shorts. I understand people will be looking to try and short Euro because it's had a really big move. It's coming back into an area of supply here on the left. I think this was from the US elections back in November. We had a really big drop to the downside, and finally price is now back at that area. And given the fact that we are pretty stretched, pretty overextended, there's a good chance we could see a reaction and a move down. So I understand looking to short Euro, but based on my analysis, I do expect the bigger move for Euro to be still to be to the upside. So that's the area, that's the level, that's the direction I want to be looking to trade towards, which is back at these prices here. 1.11 we'll call it. So I do still see more upside for euro. For me, I'm more interested in trying to catch that pullback, wherever that high low will form, and looking to swing it back to 1.11, or at least the swing high, wherever that forms. But that's the trade I'm interested in. Again, for euro, there's a couple of areas I'm looking at for the longs. This low here, and also this area here. Also, just the resistance there on the left at 1.06. That would be a nice area for a pullback. There's also this area down here, which would be a nice place for a buy. But again, I just don't see price having a deeper pullback as that. So again, for euro, if I whip out the old Fibonacci from the low to the high, you can see we've got lovely confluence down here. So again, that would be my preferred area for a long for euro. If we could see a pullback to this area, 1.06 roughly, that would be my preferred area for a long. But again, will we have a pullback that big? Roughly, from the high there, we're talking about a 300 pip pullback there for Euro USD. So that's a pretty big move in itself. Also, in terms of the timing as well, it would take a while for us unless we see some heavy momentum like that, like we saw last week. It's probably going to take a while for us to get there. So that's why I'm also looking at 1.076, as we might only see something like that. But we'll see as things develop for euro. For now, still pretty bullish and expecting a big swing back to 1.11. Pound USD, I also like this one as well. This one hasn't been as bullish as euro, but still looking pretty much just as good, to be honest. I really like the price action. We've got a really nice area of confluence below us. We've got the prior high dragging that across. That will be turn support. And just joining up these price swing lows with a lovely trend line. We've got some confluence in this area around 1.27. Nice psychological level there as well. So what I'm seeing for pound USD is that we had a big sell and things look like we've got a bit of a V-shaped price action here. So impulse down, impulse back up, kind of giving us that V-shape formation, which tends to signal more upside to follow. So that's another reason why I'm expecting pound USD to keep pushing. And possibly we could see pound to push all the way back to the highs up there if we are going to see a full swing and a full continuation of this bullish leg here. This could be a pullback of that, and perhaps we're seeing another continuation. So I'm very, very bullish on pound, of course, very bearish on the USD currency itself. So that adds to my bias as well. Now it's just about waiting for price to come to me to find some entries and take some trades. As I said, 1.27 is really my area of confluence. So kind of waiting to see if we can get there. Looks like pound USD is moving sideways. So we're struggling to make some new highs right now. Perhaps price is getting ready for a pullback. We'll wait and see. I'm not really interested in trying to short pound to try and capitalize on the pullback. That's not really my trade. I'm more focused on the longs there. So that's where my focus is personally. Dollar CAD still in this position from last week. Hasn't been moving great. It's been all over the place, but hasn't invalidated the trade. My stop loss is still above the high over there. Target's still at the low. So I'm just going to let the trade do its thing. It's either going to eventually take out the resistance and hit my stop loss, or it's going to eventually roll into profit. I'm still very bearish on the USD side of things as well. So I'm expecting dollar CAD to see some downside. Dollar CAD's the only USD pair which hasn't really seen much downside, which of course is due to CAD being weak as well. But I'm expecting CAD to eventually find some strength because it's been so weak. I'm expecting that to eventually find some strength and a bit of a bounce, similar to USD to an extent. But I am still looking for a bit of a move to the downside for dollar CAD. If we go to the weekly chart, you can see where we're trading massive resistance on the weekly time frame, once, twice, and potentially a third time. And you can see prior tests have given us really big reactions. So at least expecting a bit of a move down for dollar CAD. So yeah, I was going to hold on to that trade and see what happens. Like I said, if you're looking for entries for this one, I think the best place is if we get a double top. That way you can put a stop loss, probably similar to where mine is. Maybe you get a better entry and then look for a swing, either to the lows here or to that low there. It's up to you. But in terms of finding a safe place for an entry and a stop loss, I would wait for price to push close to the highs there so I can get stop loss above that swing high, because any stop losses in here are a little bit vulnerable. Dollar CAD's kind of a bit rangy right now. But yeah, still bearish, still looking for a swing back to 1.415. In terms of Aussie dollar, pretty bullish on this one, expecting a lot more upside as well, but it's been a little bit choppy to trade. I did say if I'm looking to get involved in Aussie dollar, it's because we've created some new highs. Because at the moment, this is pretty much a range, to be honest. There's no kind of consistency to the market structure. It looks like we're forming a bit of a bottom here. But in terms of finding a trade, I do want there to be some bullish structure, which I'm looking to trade, which is push, pull back, need another push to create some new highs past this point. And then once I see that happen, I can look for some pullbacks again and retest of a low somewhere and look for some longs. Because again, if I go to the weekly chart, Aussie dollars trading some really pivotal support, which could give us a pretty big move to the upside. And of course, me being very bearish on USD as well, that kind of helps add to my bias of why I'm expecting Aussie dollar to push higher. Just there's no real opportunity to actually buy this one. Not trading at any area of significance. No kind of safe place for a stop loss either. So staying put with Aussie dollar, but I am expecting price to pick up the pace to the upside. Same situation with NZD/USD as well. Very, very flat pair, as we can see for the past few weeks here. Just pretty much a range here, but again, it looks like price from a bit of a bottom. Taking into consideration where we're trading, massive support here on the weekly chart as well. As you can see, one bounce there, second bounce there, perhaps a third one. So again, could see a bit of a relief there for NZD/USD. And if we are going to push to the upside, waiting for structure to follow suit. So something like this, and I can find some longs, perhaps in the retest of the high. But the key thing is I need to see a break of structure and some new highs. That way I can look to actually find a higher low in relation to the bullish structure and then trade that. But at the moment, like I said, don't have that yet. Price is still pretty much flat. So waiting for us to push to the upside first, make that move, and then I can follow that momentum shortly afterwards. In terms of gold, so gold, we had a bit of momentum to the downside, but I didn't really add too much. I said keep an eye on the breaks of the range here for gold, because if we do break to the downside, there's a good chance we could push to the lows. We did see a kind of a half-hearted breakout. You can see the wicks there. Not really a good sign. Didn't really see much momentum. And the key sign was the following, well, not the following, the one after the following for our candle, which closed back inside the range. So it looks like we've got a bit of a fake out to the downside here for gold. And perhaps we're going to use that to potentially fund a move to the upside now, possibly back to the highs here at 29.54. So in terms of opportunities, you could either try and anticipate the fake out and wait for price to close back in and look to buy there, or wait for price to now break the high of the range and then look to find some pullbacks afterwards. Probably more than the 15-minute time frame you're looking for entries there. This is the hourly chart. But yeah, that does look like a bit of a fake out there for gold. Failed momentum. Price is now back within the range. If you can clear the highs, then there's a good chance price is going to push back to the all-time highs at 29.55, 54. And possibly some higher highs as well. But generally speaking, gold is still relatively a bullish market. So if you're looking for longs, you're in a good area, a good climate to do that, because naturally speaking, gold is still very much in an uptrend in the higher time frame. So you do have that confidence to your trade. But in terms of actually a setup for gold, I'll still wait for us to break the highs, then look for some retests. But yeah, I would expect us to push back to the highs there if we can see a successful retest. And then for silver's still very much in an awkward situation. Looking bullish as well this morning, but again, not too sure is price respecting this level or breaking through. It's a little bit of a awkward one. Again, if price can show me clear signs of breaking through this level here at 32.1, then I'm looking for a swing back to the high here, and things become relatively simple. So looking for pullbacks, a retest of a high somewhere, and then longs back to the high. Or if price is well and truly respecting this level, then I do think we can see a bit of a swing back to the downside and probably test those lows there at 28.82. So really, it's make or break at this level. If we're going to break through, then expecting the highs there. If you're going to respect the level, there's a good way we can turn around. But like I said, there's a lot of bullish momentum. If gold's going to break to the upside, they probably will drag silver with it. So if that's the case, then I do want to see something like this happen. And then, yeah, I'll look for some pullbacks, perhaps a retest of the high, depends how we look. But hypothetically, that could be a situation I take. And yeah, we'll be looking to see if I can take silver back to 34.8. So yeah, very bullish on, well, generally speaking, very bullish on gold and silver. It looks like we might be seeing some follow through for them. Still waiting for a few more confirmations before I start mapping out some setups really. But still very bearish on USD. As long as USD stays bearish, then you could expect to see some upside for gold and silver as well. And then USD majors just looking to short the dollar really. So that's kind of where I'm at with USD. What is up, people? Welcome to the stream, and Zondi. Hope you're well. Ahmed, good morning. Hope you're doing good. Sultan, good morning. Hope you're well. What is up? Dark Sean, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Hard to find a best swing or day trade in these days. Yeah, especially when the market's already had some big moves as well, because essentially you want to already be in the trade, before the big moves happen. You don't want to be getting to trade after them unless you're looking for more very shorter term scalps. Not necessarily scalps, but even day trades. But yeah, once the market's already made some big moves, like Euro USD, for example, if you're looking to continue to buy Euro, you're doing that on a short-term basis, because the market's already stretched. So you're not looking to hold that for too long. If you're looking for a swing trade in Euro, you're either looking to try and fade that big bullish move to short it, or you're waiting for some pullbacks. And that's kind of the story of a lot of the USD pairs at the moment. GJ making a run for liquidity, waiting for signs of reversal. Okay, we'll take a look at pound yen. Nick G, good to sell. I'm not really interested in selling pound USD. Of course, as I mentioned, I'm kind of expecting pound USD to retrace, but I'm not really looking to try and take advantage of that retracement, because that's not really where my confidence lies. I can expect the market to retrace, but potentially might still push 50 pips to the upside before it does retrace. And that 50 pip move is probably enough to take your stop loss before potentially retracing. So pound USD is not really at an area of confidence for me to be shorting. The trade idea I'm interested is the long. I'm expecting retracement, but like I said, we potentially could push a little bit higher first before that comes. So because I don't really have a short setup there to trade, I'm not looking to sell it. I am looking to buy it. Of course, it might take a couple of days for us to actually see that retracement, but that's the reality if you're going to be dealing on the 4-hour time frame. I do expect it to see some downside, but all we see here is just consolidation right now. I would suggest if you're on the lower time frames, perhaps if we could see a break to the downside of that consolidation, it might be a nice retest for some shorts and some follow through there. So I would say that would be a nice short idea if we can break the lows and look for some continuations below that. But right now the market's extremely flat, and for all we know, we could break to the upside again. So I would avoid shorting now, but a confident break of the support there, maybe the hourly or 30-minute chart, might be some nice pullbacks during the week there. But as I said, I'm more focused with the longs there with pound USD. Okay, so let us go take a look at GJ. You can pay me now to trade GJ. What was I thinking? 30 views, 30 wouldn't be bad, folks. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out, and I do appreciate everyone who has liked the stream so far and subscribed. But if you're finding the streams useful, helpful, please be sure to drop a like. It does really help out, and I do really appreciate that. Okay, so let's go take a look at pound yen. So I haven't really been a fan of pound yen for a while, at least in the 4-hour chart. I don't really trade the lower time frames. So personally, I don't really look at the lower time frames outside of the streams. The lowest I go is kind of hourly chart for my personal trading. But with pound yen, it's been extremely flat. We're seeing some bullish momentum this morning. Again, I know what I'm looking for pound yen in the higher time frames. I'm still looking for another major lower high to form. We've got one over there, second there. I'm looking for a third one for another swing to the downside. So that's kind of what I'm waiting on for pound yen, and that's kind of where I'm looking to get that swing trade. Because at the moment, all I'm seeing is price reject support pretty well. We've had so many rejections of this area. And it's a pretty clear sign that says, okay, pound yen's tried to break through 189, completely failed. So at this point, I do expect to see a bit of a push to the upside, and hence, get those sells later on and take it back down. Euro yen's kind of doing exactly what I want pound yen to do. I'll quickly just hover over this one. So you can see euro yen testing some key support. Had a few attempts, didn't break through, had a nice push to the upside. Now I'm looking for us to go and put potentially another one of those. Oh, completely missed it there. Put one of those lower highs in again, and hopefully short that high and take it back to where we came from into support. So euro yen's almost there. Gonna keep an eye on this one. Could be a setup in the next couple of days. Pound yen might take a few days for us to get to the level I'm looking for. Closer to this area, that might take 3-4 days. So that might be a setup for next week or even the week after as well. Depends how long we kind of just move sideways down there for. But that is what I'm interested in. On the lower time frames, if I drop to the old 5-minute chart, if I can delete this level, there we go. So 5-minute chart. Last time we spoke, I believe we were over here somewhere. Yeah, we had that big bearish move, and price was over here. So we were talking about some shorts. I said the retest of the range here would be a nice place for a short. Looks like price just about tested that low, and a really nice sell there. I also talked about some longs down here, which seem to have played out pretty well as well. Nice push into that level because, of course, that's where all that momentum came from. And more or less, we kind of had these high lows in that area. Kind of pierced the trend line a bit, though. But yeah, nice push to the upside. But what's the next move now? What's the next move now for pound yen? To be honest, I wouldn't know, to be honest. Overall, what I'm looking at is some bullish structure here. So we've got the low, high, possibly another higher low for another higher high. That could be the case. If price is going to make that move on the 4-hour chart I'm expecting, then it's going to start on the 5-minute, of course. So it's an awkward one. I would suggest some longs down here wouldn't look too bad. I've kind of got like a bit of a reversal here. So I would expect to see some pullbacks and more upside. So I think some buys around 190 would be nice. Perhaps we're going to push back to the high there. So that could be a nice place to be looking to sell the market again as we get back to the high. But of course, we're a long way away from that. That might take a day or two for us to get there. But I like the buys for now for pound yen. It kind of continues that structure I hinted at just previously. The swing there, another swing there, possibly another one. So that way we can still take advantage of that. But overall, it's just a very awkward location. And the price action is just a bit choppy. But that's kind of the best I've got there for pound yen in the 5-minute. That's the best I've got. Morning, Ivan. Euro JPY buy at 162.1. Okay, we'll have a look at that for you. No problem. Indumiso, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Yes, I'll take a look at dollar CAD 1.42407. We'll have a look at that as well. My guess will fill the gap and then sell it again. Okay, yeah, I can see that happening. I assume by the gap you mean this area here. Okay, I can see that happening as well. Possibly another lower high around 191. Yeah, I think that's a nice place for a short as well. Unless you're talking about this kind of big drop there. But if you're talking about the gap there, 191, yeah, I think that would be a nice place for a reaction as well. Yeah, I just don't think the price action's overly great at the moment. There are times where the price actions look really clean. Like I remember when you were shorting some lower lows and lower highs. I think it was down here, or maybe around there. Price action was looking relatively clean, nice swings, lower highs to work with. This is a little bit more challenging. And of course, those times will come and go. There'll be times where the price action is looking very, very clean. And there'll be times where price action is looking absolutely atrocious. And sometimes it's just best to stay at the markets. But yeah, I can see a reaction there. You'd expect that gap to fill anyway. Anyway, so we'll go through Euro Yen. Then I'll go through dollar CAD as well. So buys at 162, price at created bullish flag on the 4-hour. Is it right time to buy it after a pullback? Okay, let's discuss. So Euro Yen, looking to buy at 162. Let me just remove some of these squiggly lines. There we go. There we go. Okay, so 162.1. Let me just put that on the chart. Okay, so more or less around there. Okay, so okay, you want to buy it to 162.1. Okay, I thought you said buy from 162.1. Yeah, I'm actually looking for price to get there to short it, to be honest. Basically, where we got this trendline confluence, I'm looking for a lower high in and around that area, which is more or less 162.1. And then from there, possibly a swing back into support back to where we came from. Because I'm looking at this as a big head and shoulder pattern, left head and right shoulder. There you've got your lovely neckline. And I'm expecting eventually us to break to do something like that. So my plan is to try and catch the highs of the move, and therefore that gives me a safe place to put a stop loss and potentially capitalize on a pretty big move if it does follow through. So yeah, I would expect us to get to that 162.1 area. I did mention some buys actually yesterday. I did say if you're looking to try and ride up Euro Yen, this might be a nice place for a buy because it kind of looks like we're putting in a bit of a bull flag here. To an extent, big impulse, breaking structure. This looks like a correction to me. Very, very strong candle close this morning, of course. Very, very bullish. And I would expect us to continue to push the upside. So I do agree. I do think 162.1 looks likely based on how everything is setting up. I don't think we'll probably come and retest this level anymore. There was a possibility of us doing that yesterday, but not when we formed support and had a strong bullish push this morning. So the likelihood is now that we do continue to push the upside and go and test that 162.1 area, or at least that trend line area. So I do agree with that. I do agree. I do think prices like to push higher. I'm still very much focused on the shorts though. So yeah, I don't really see a good way to trade that unless you're already in the position. Unless you can get something like this, but then your kind of risk towards a little bit skewed there. Not really even getting a 1-to-1 into 162.1. So that's not particularly great. Again, there's nothing wrong with a trade negative risk to reward, but I wouldn't want to do that consistently. I still want my average risk to reward to be much bigger than my average loss. You can always get away with taking 1 or 2 trades here and there, which are negative risk to reward, but you don't do that consistently because it's not going to help you through losing streaks when a loss is twice the size of a win. Yeah, it's going to be much harder. But yeah, I think the risk reward is a bit skewed there, so I'm not really seeing a good entry for that, but I would expect us to get there. Dollar CAD, okay, we'll have a look, see. Just hit the mic there. So dollar CAD, any chance you might go below 1.42407 last week low? Okay, is that the low here? 424. Okay, yeah, more or less that area. No problem, Ivan. Happy to help. Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting us to get to that area again. I'm expecting us to get to this level again, to be honest. I'm still currently short on dollar CAD, so I am looking for that move. And my stops are above the high, entry entered on that candle there. So it's about a week. Yeah, actually a week on the dot, actually, because I entered at 10 a.m. UK time on Tuesday. And it's now 10:30. So yeah, it's been a full week being in the position, seen some nice momentum. However, prices pull back against me a bit. But yeah, I'm still looking for the same move. As long as price respects 1.45, I'm expecting to see that follow through to the downside. I'm very, very bearish on dollar CAD. However, since we did create some bullish structure on the lower time frames, we potentially might still push a little bit deeper first before actually getting that sell. If you're looking to take a trade, I would wait for price to pull back a little bit deeper, because essentially I would want to have my stop loss above the highs there. And the closer I can get my entry to that stop loss, the better my risk to reward, of course. So yeah, I would be waiting to see if we can get a slightly deeper push. But essentially, as long as price can hold 1.45, as I said, I do expect to see a swing back into lows here. Again, my idea with the trade is that we had this big rejection. I'm simply looking at the pullback of that rejection for continuation back into the low. I'm using that resistance to my advantage. Dollar CAD's coming from a big level on the weekly chart. As you can see, first rejection of that area there, big sell-off, second rejection, huge sell-off, and now there again for a third time as well. Not necessarily looking for another huge sell-off, but at least a bit of a reaction, which so far we've kind of got. Just looking for a little bit more of that. So yeah, pretty bearish in dollar CAD. We'll see if we can get that follow through. Like I said, it's been a little bit messy. Of course, CAD's been insanely weak as well. So it's been a bit of an awkward one. Pretty much every other USD pair has seen a lot of downside, but dollar CAD, dollar CHF has had a really big drop as well. This one actually looks good for some pullbacks too. I do like the possibility of retracement to this area, retesting some price support and resistance. This is definitely something I'm going to keep a close eye on. And pull back as such, another lower high and another big push down. Because again, similar to dollar CAD, we've got massive resistance, which price is rejected pretty well. And perhaps we might see a similar push to the downside there too. And if you can get some pullbacks, you can look to take advantage of that swing. But yeah, generally speaking, I'm very bearish on the USD pairs. Not USD pairs, but USD currency. So bullish on euro, bullish on pound USD, but bearish on dollar CAD, bearish on dollar CHF, and bullish on Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar as well. So very much just looking to buy everything against the dollar really. So short USD, even looking to short dollar yen as well. So that is very much my main focus. And of course, shorting dollar CAD, I'm doing that as well. Obviously, probably not doing it against the better currency, dollar CAD, which has been insanely short. But in all honesty, that's the only USD pair that actually set up well for me last week. All the other USD pairs, I was looking for a slightly bit more retracement before finding some entries. And of course, they kind of just exploded to the upside. So I didn't really get a chance to enter. But dollar CAD retracing to a level I was looking to short from, gave me a suitable reaction. So I entered the trade. I'm going to see how that one gets going. But yeah, I do think dollar CAD can get to the low of last week. Anyway, I'm going to start to go through some of the other yen pairs. We had a look at pound yen and euro yen. So in terms of dollar yen, I do like a lot as well. We broke through a big level, which we were mentioning yesterday. Really big level of resistance on the higher time frames, which price has broken through. I'm simply looking for price to come back and retest that area pretty much. Pull back, see another lower high, and then continue on our journey to the downside. I am looking for us to come back into 140.6, which is down there. If I drop to the 4-hour chart, we do have this lovely trend line, which is connecting all these previous lower highs. So if you can pull back into that area there roughly, again, it really depends how we pull back. The setup is hypothetical. It depends how we pull back and how we get there and how we react, whether or not I deem it to still be a good trade. Sometimes you can get really aggressive pullbacks and then the opportunity doesn't look as good as it could have done. Sometimes you get a nice pullback, but you don't see any rejection or any confirmations, and price continues to push through, and then there is no trade there as well. So there's a lot of variables that still need to be valid once I do start to see the pullback and price does get there. But I am looking to short the pair, and essentially the plan is to try and catch another one of these lower highs and continue to short it back into the lows, and hopefully eventually 140 down there as well. So dollar yen is definitely yen pair I'm keeping a close eye on. New Zealand yen actually went and took out the wick lows, I'm pretty sure. So that one's kind of done its job. Is it New Zealand or Aussie? No, it's CAD yen. Sorry, CAD yen took out the wick lows. New Zealand yen hasn't quite done it yet. I think it was CAD. Yeah, CAD. Yeah, CAD's been very bearish, and it just about took out the lows there. So now that CAD yen has done that, we can probably expect to see a bit of a pullback. I expect more downside overall. I do think eventually price can see a push back down into support here at 94.7. So I do expect a lot more downside longer term. But now that we've kind of taken out a big low there, I do expect to see a bit of a bounce, bit of a relief. But yeah, I'm expecting more of the same. So still very short bias on this one. In terms of what I'm looking for, I do like this support level here, which of course now will be turning resistance. That would be a nice place for a pullback. If I whip out the fib from the high to the low, you can see it lines up pretty well with the 50% of the fib there. So naturally, that would be a nice place to short the market from and perhaps catch the next swing high. But yeah, not really interested in the shorts anymore with CAD Gen because of where we're trading. The fact that the market is still looking very fatigued, very tired. It's not like we've been falling to the downside very aggressively. The market's had a very corrective move as of late. So not really showing characteristics of a lot of momentum either. And based on where we're trading as well, we probably will get a push to the upside at some point. It's just about how deep of a push and whether or not we can find the lower high to actually short. But yeah, still very, very bearish here for CAD Yen and still expecting more downside. New Zealand Yen hasn't quite taken out the wick low like CAD Yen has done. But again, still pretty bearish on this one too. I still do like the high here for potentially double top. If we could see a retest of that area, that would be something I'll be interested in. And of course, looking to short it back into the wick low there as well. But as we can see, you got the prior lower highs, 1, 2, 3, essentially looking for the fourth. This could be the fourth already printed in, and perhaps price is going to go and take up the lows now. But essentially, as long as we can respect that area, I can base it stop loss above it. That is me good to go. Entries in that area and targets back at the low if we were to pull back. Of course, if we don't and we continue, then I'll find another pullback at a later date. But for now, still very, very bearish on New Zealand yen, expecting more downside. Aussie yen, which of course is a very similar pair to New Zealand yen. This one's a lot further away from the wick, but nonetheless, still very much the target I have for Aussie yen. This one had a nice retest of support. I was looking for a slightly deeper correction for this one as well. We had some nice trendline confluence lining up over there too. So I'm kind of still waiting to see if we can get a push into that area roughly, similar to New Zealand yen, and perhaps catch a short there too. We've got some lovely bearish structure, which pretty much looks like pretty much looks the same as New Zealand yen. Of course, they're very similar pairs, but yeah, the setup was pretty much the same. Respects 94.4, then pretty much targets back down at the wick low and possibly a lot further as well. But yeah, very, very bearish on Aussie yen, just waiting for a bit of a pullback. It looks like we're struggling at the lows here as well. I think the yen basket is a little bit tired too. So we might be seeing a bit of yen weakness coming to the market, which will help me out because I'm looking for that for some retracement. But again, my main idea is looking to buy the yen. First attempts on GJ short at rejection 190.9. Okay, got. Hopefully it will be a good entry and finish my day quickly. Nice. English is bad this morning. Don't worry, my man. At least you're not the person on the stream. I'd be stumbling over my words quite a lot, to be honest. Okay, so I'll go through a couple more of the yen pairs, and then we'll take a look at GJ as well. So CHF JPY, and then I'll take a quick look at the yen basket. We'll go through some GJ, and I'll go through some indices as well. I was supposed to go through them earlier. Keep forgetting to go over the indices. Not showing them enough love. So yeah, Swiss franc still trading at some daily support. So again, I do expect this level to break, but I don't want to be shorting directly into it. So it's very, very simple in terms of what I'm looking to do. Either wait for price to pull away to then short back down, or continue the momentum and then look for pullbacks afterwards. Either which way, looking to avoid shorting directly into support, especially when the market's rejecting it so much. So the bigger move for Swiss yen is likely to the downside. I'm still very bearish on this one. We've been forming these major lower highs, one over there, second over there, and I'm looking for a third to form pretty soon after as well. So the plan is very much just waiting for us to pull back, form that lower high, and then find some entries, or like I said, have a really big breakthrough and then some pullbacks and perhaps a retest of that same level. Either which way, very, very short bias on Swiss franc. At the moment, it is testing support, so I can definitely understand people looking to long the pair. It makes sense since we've been rejecting the level so well. A bit of an awkward situation because of how price has been moving. In terms of finding a stop loss, you don't necessarily want to put it underneath the low here. You're very vulnerable to getting wicked out. Kind of want it to be down here, which of course might skew the risk reward a little bit, but it puts your stop loss at a relatively safe space. Because if the market does get there, number one, it could be a big fake out, but most likely it's probably price breaking the low to continue lower there. So you'll be at a much safer space, safer place there. But it is a nice place for a long, and judging how price is reacting to it and looking like the yen basket might retrace as well. So yeah, the yen basket is having a lot of struggle in this area. So perhaps we do see a bit of a move to the downside. A drop to the 4-hour chart. You can see we are putting in these high lows here. We got 1, 2, 3, and yeah, looking for a fourth. Perhaps we might see a fourth form around this 67.50 area, and that would be a nice place for a long. And of course, very strong rejection this morning. Price came back into resistance again, didn't have such a good time there, and respected it pretty well. So perhaps we do see a bit of a drop there for the yen basket, which of course will mean yen weakness, which should push the upside the yen pairs as well. So I do like the buys on the yen pairs from a 4-hour perspective. There is some room to move into, but still bullish overall. Directional wise, expecting us to take out that wick high there eventually. So yeah, it's still a pretty long way to go for my targets to be met there for the yen basket, which again keeps me looking to short the yen pairs as a whole, just waiting for good opportunities to do so. Let's have a quick look at GJ. Darkshon said he is shorting. Okay, so you got in your first entry at 190.9. Okay, so that's more or less the rejection here then. Okay, we'll see how that gets going. Hasn't quite got to the gap there yet. I've got that around 191.058. Not too sure if it's you're shorting from a different area or maybe your broker's got a different price, but that would be a pretty big difference. But yeah, it does look like price is slowing down. I like the formation of the candlesticks there. Strong wick to the upside. Nice shift of momentum. So if we can respect that candlestick pattern, we should see some downside. I'm guessing your target's still roughly 70 to 100 pips, what you usually look for, which would probably take us into this kind of area, which is where I said some buys might look nice if we can retrace there. So yeah, I think that's an appropriate area to kind of take some profit around 190. That might be area we do bounce from. Could be looking at a full swing, but just because price is so corrective, it's not really moving well. I'd avoid looking for big targets in these conditions because the consistency of the market is not quite there. If the market's consistently trending well, then you can look to push trades a little bit further, but markets that are kind of very choppy. You can have big targets as well, but be prepared for choppy moves, and it's probably not going to move there in a straight line. You might see some big kind of unnecessary pullbacks as well. But yeah, still not a big fan of pound yen on the higher time frames, but it does look like things are slowly pushing to the upside here. So that's why I kind of do have a bullish bias, kind of expecting something like that, especially with my analysis on the end basket as well. I do think we probably will push back to the highs here at some point in time and perhaps get the bigger push to 196, which is more or less where I'm looking to short. So we'll see if we can get that in the near future. But yeah, as a whole for the yen pairs, still pretty bearish. Long term, again, when I'm bearish, I'm mostly speaking about the daily time frame. When I do reference a bias for a chart or a pair, it's normally the daily time frame I'll be speaking of. If it's another time frame, I'll let you know. But when I do say I'm bearish, it's bearish in the daily chart or bullish in the daily chart as well. And I'm using the 4-hour chart to try and trade through that and refine my stop loss, refine my entry, so I can maximize my risk reward. But yeah, for the yen pair, still very bearish, and I think dollar yen is probably my favorite right now. If this one can pull back into that 151 area, that would be much appreciated. And this one's still got a pretty long way to go. It's broken through some structure on the left as well. We had that swing low, which gave us the swing high. So technically, we did have some bullish structure, which price has now gone in and invalidated, breaking the structure, which means that the chance of this move here is now pretty unlikely. And more so a move like that is a bit more likely now. So pretty bearish in dollar yen. Of course, I'm very bearish in USD, the currency itself. That adds into the bias as well. So not only looking at the chart, but looking at the currencies, yen, I'm expecting upside. Dollar, I'm expecting downside. So dollar yen looks like a really good short to me in general. Just now about finding opportunities to actually find some entries and take the trade, which is the hard part because that's where all the waiting is. But yeah, expecting pretty big move back to 140.677. The gap is at 200 to 250 pips distance, so I'm expecting some retrace first. Oh, okay. Times 70 pips, or if volume picks up, we'll drag stop loss. Okay, nice. Yeah, I mean, again, it depends on what you're looking at, but I like the fact that you do kind of manage the trade differently depending on the situation, not just using one size fits all. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. In terms of my personal trading, like I said, still am holding dollar CAD shorts, which is not really going too well. It's going okay. I mean, it was going very well last week, but of course we did see some upside from NFP and some upside from the CAD unemployment rate on Friday. But the trade is still valid, so I'm just going to let the market do its thing. I try not to be too micromanagey, if that's the right word, on my trades. I try to let the market do the work it needs to do. Especially if my target's not particularly big in terms of the risk reward. This is roughly around a 1 to 2 into the low there, so I'm not going to try and do too much. If it's like a 1 to 3 or 1 to 4, maybe I might be a bit more what's the word? A bit more active in terms of management, like trading stops or closing trades early. Basically, what I'm doing with my Aussie CHF position in terms of closing most of my profit at the low, trading a stop loss for the remaining profits. So of course, with this trade, I'm a bit more active because my target's so much further, and there's a lot more discretion for the trade here. So this one will be a bit more active, but a 1 to 2. Try not to get into the way of that. Yes, you might benefit about getting out of trades a bit earlier sometimes, but then sometimes you get out of trades a bit early just to see them go and hit your take profit as well. So there's two sides. There's two sides to that coin. But yeah, Aussie CHF is the only other position I'm in. Haven't taken a new trade since the dollar CAD position last week, so I'm still kind of waiting, biding my time, trying to find a good position to get into the market. This is already break even, risk free, so I'm not too concerned about that trade. Whatever happens, I'll be walking away for profit. Dollar CAD, however, that's still live and that could still be a loser. But if you're not prepared to take a loss, then you're not prepared to take the trade. In terms of my personal watch list, in terms of entries I'm looking to take, well, I'll go through my watch list. Some are not really close to any entries right now, but they're good opportunities nonetheless. So in terms of the USD side of things, dollar CHF, I really like the shorts for this one. This one's nowhere near entries. I still need to see a pretty decent pullback before looking to short. But the idea is pretty self-explanatory, just looking for another low high in this trend here. I'm seeing a lot of momentum here. I'm expecting a lot more downside. Expanding to the weekly chart, we had a really big rejection of that weekly resistance, and I think there's a pretty good chance we eventually come back into support at 0.83771. So in my book, there's a pretty big move to the downside here to be had. And yeah, I'm just looking to see if I can take advantage of that. Pullbacks, lower highs, looking to short. I do think there's going to be a lot more CHF strength in the market, and I do think there's going to be a lot more USD weakness. So I'm bearish on USD and bullish on CHF. That should mean more downside for USD CHF, and hence we do have a bearish trending market as well. There's a good chance we do get that move too. So yeah, dollar CHF shorts look good, just waiting for a pullback into that area. Pound USD longs look really good as well. Same situation as dollar CHF, just waiting for a pullback into that area. I like the higher lows price has been providing us with. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, looking for a fifth in that area there too. And perhaps we could see a nice rally to the upside from that area as well. And of course, that could take us back to highs up here at 1.34125 as well. So there's a lot of upside there to be had for pounds. I think for this trade, I'll keep it relatively simple. I might leave positions to run. But yeah, I like pound USD longs, and Euro USD longs as well look pretty good. I have to see how price retraces, whether it still looks good. But those are the two levels I'm looking to buy from. That's my big target on the daily chart. Just waiting for a pullback into one of these two areas for some buys, and then hopefully find some entries pretty soon after. But you can see these USD pairs are not really near entries, to be honest, because of course we've had such big moves last week. I need to see some retracement, so it's going to take a while to get those entries, but it looked like good opportunities nonetheless. So I'm keeping a close eye on them. In terms of the yen pairs, dollar yen's at the top of that list, waiting for some pullbacks for this guy. Not too far away, to be honest. We could see this opportunity come this week, so need to keep an eye. 151 more or less is the area I'm looking to short from, and also euro yen as well. This one could happen in a couple of days too. I would probably say that euro yen's the closest setup to actually give me a trade, to be honest. So this is one I'm going to be focused on the most. But again, essentially, what do we have? A big head and shoulder pattern, expecting price to eventually break to the downside for that. So if I can short the highs over there, then I'm just automatically in a nice place to capitalize on that move, at least get it back into support. And if I'm lucky, maybe catch the breakout as well. But yeah, euro yen isn't too far away from entries. I've kind of marked out this trend line here, basically looking for price to return into that kind of area, especially with that big candle closure on the last 4-hour candle. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see, price go and hit that trend line in a day or two. And then, yeah, if things look good, I will look for some entries. Risk reward looks pretty good in this position as well, so I'm excited for this one. If we can get a decent setup, I could probably refine my entry pretty well, and could be looking at a risk reward of like 1 to 4, 1 to 5, 1 to 6s, potentially even more than that if I can refine it even better. But yeah, it could be a really nice swing trade to keep a close eye on for euro yen. So yeah, euro yen shorts, dollar yen shorts. And that's pretty much it for the yen pairs. I like CAD yen as well, but that one hasn't even began to start retracing, so I'm not really too concerned with this one. Oh, did not mean to do that. So when I start to see some retracement, then I'll get a little bit more excited for this one. But yeah, we're not going to hit that this week, most likely, unless something crazy happens. So out the yen pairs, shorts on euro yen, shorts on dollar yen, USD pairs, longs on euro, longs on pound, and shorts on dollar CHF. I do like silver, though. It hasn't kind of set up how I wanted it yet. But if we are going to have a break of this daily level resistance, then I would expect us to go and hit that resistance there at 34.8. So I am going to be keeping a close eye there on silver, strong break of this level, looking for a retest of that same level, hopefully. Depends on how we set up. But that will be the opportunity I'll be looking to take. And then if things go well, hopefully trade it back to 34.85. So I like silver longs as well. I also like pound CAD longs if it can be kind enough to pull back. This one, again, pretty far away from entries, but it has left behind a solid level of resistance, which now we turn support um, for us over here. So again, if you can get a pullback, just looking to follow the trend pretty much and see how far we can take it, at least back to highs. Let's say if we pull back from here, that would naturally be the target for the trade. And then we'll see what we can get. But yeah, solid resistance will be turned support. If I can see sufficient rejection there, well then, hey presto, that looks like a nice trade to me. And yeah, expecting a big push to the upside. And that is pretty much it, to be honest. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I mean, pound end's the I'm keeping an eye on. I'm keeping an eye on this one. I do like the retest here. Not as much as I like pound CAD though. It's a bigger level, more significant. So pound CAD, I'm going to spend a bit more attention on that one. But if I do see a healthy correction, a decent rejection of that area, then there's a good chance we do bounce there as well. So I'll probably keep a close eye on pound NSD as well. But that one's a bit more. Yeah, depends on the situation, depends on the pullback. Because a lot of the time I will map out some setups, but I might change my mind as price is getting there or when price gets there, whether I take the trade or not. And likewise, there'll be opportunities where I'm kind of like, it's looking okay. But then maybe the retracement looked really good. Maybe it did something that makes it look better. The entry looks good. And then I decide to take the trade. So that's kind of the situation here with pound NSD. It looks okay. Maybe it looks really good once we've had the retracement and everything is formed. And I end up taking the position. And again, that's the beauty of the 4-hour chart. It's going to take a while for us to get there. So yeah, that'll probably take a few days. And as those few days progress, I'll be making decisions after decisions, adding it to the watch list, removing it. And eventually when it's there, I'll know what I want to do. But yeah, pound NSD longs do look okay. But that's more or less what I'm looking at, to be honest, in terms of my personal trading. Like I said, Euro yen's the closest one for entries, so that's the one I'm going to focus on the most. Excuse me. What's up, Yusuf? Good morning. Hope you're well. I'll go through the indices. I did say I was going to go through them earlier, but got a bit distracted. So we'll go through the indices now. They've been pretty bearish, haven't they? They've been pretty bearish. Yeah. Look at that for Nas. How's Bitcoin? Okay, not too bearish. It's up on the day. Hasn't quite got back to 73, 74K yet, but still looking pretty bearish. Anyway, in terms of Nas is Nas is not looking too hot right now. So I would I would be a little bit frightened if I was an investor of the Nas. I mean, not frightened, of course, not frightened. You expect it to eventually go up as well. It's just maybe for a little bit of a while, we are in a bit of a bear market, to be honest. Where's the 200 moving average? That's such a big indicator. A lot of people look at the 200 moving average, especially for the S&P. I'll get the simple. And I'll get the EMA as well. Okay, where's the simple? Simple's traditional. A lot of people look at the simple. A lot of people look at the EMA as well. But the kind of the standard, the gold standard, if you will, for moving averages, especially the S&P 500, especially if you look at history, it's the simple one. The EMA is a little bit more modernized. But yeah, it's broken the 200 there. If I get the EMA out, broken that one as well. I mean, they're more or less the same, but they're broken. Yeah, so the 200 been broken. The 200 been broken. Yeah, it's not a good sign when the 200 breaks. I'll give you that for free. Yeah, it's not a good sign when the 200 breaks. To be honest, it depends how you break back above. If the market does break aggressively back above the 200, then it could be a bit of a false alarm. But if we start respecting it, especially respecting some support and resistance here, then that could actually be a pretty big sell opportunity there for the S&P. But yeah, it's not looking too good. It's not looking too good at all. We picked up the pace. I did say yesterday things were looking very corrective, so I wasn't really a big fan of everything. But then we picked up the pace with a really nice sell. So yeah, I'm pretty bearish here on the S&P. Yep, some corrections will look nice. Perhaps the retest of that area, 58, 5800, and some more downside there could look really good. NAS 100 as well. That one's really cleared that level, left it in the dust. That would be a nice place for a retest and some more downside as well. So yep, I'm pretty bearish on the NAS as well. $14 CHF looking for buys currently because it's at daily support. Okay, I'll quickly go through US 30 as well. I'll take a look at US 30. US 30. Take a look at dollar CHF for you. So yeah, US 30 hasn't actually broken support yet, so I wouldn't be bearish on this one just yet. I mean, if it's going to follow what NAS has done and what the S&P has done, then we probably are going to break support as well. But because we haven't actually done it yet, I wouldn't be bearish on this one just yet. So yeah, we could still very much balance the support here. It could be some nice short-term buys, but if we were to break through and copy NAS and S&P, then yeah, I'll be pretty bearish on this one. That could be a nice double top there for US 30. And we'll probably be seeing a lot of downside falling afterwards as well. But only when we get there will I be start favoring those shorts. We're not quite there yet. Okay, I'll go through US 30. JETV, yes, we'll take a look at gold. And on DAX, business non-stop. I haven't actually looked at the DAX, so I'll go take a look at the DAX as well. Is the DAX finally seeing some retracement? It is definitely due it. Let me have a look at gold quickly first. So yeah, gold had a little bit of a fake to the downside yesterday. Or was that this morning? No, it was yesterday. So it did close below the range. Looked as if price was breaking through. However, momentum quickly shifted back to the buyers. A lot of wicks down the 4-hour charts. Looks like all that momentum didn't really last for much. And now price is back above the zone here. And perhaps if we can get a retest of the high there, I think that's a great place to look for some entries. And to target back at the high again at 29.54. Because essentially I said whichever way price breaks out is the likely way price is going to move next. But of course, in this instance, we had a bit of a fake out. And if that is a fake out, then typically when price has a fake out, you would expect price to break in the opposite direction. You know, fakes one way to go the other. So now that we faked to go down, perhaps now price is ready to go up. So I would wait for this level to clear first. That will indicate that, okay, we are breaking to the upside now. And because we've got the fake out in the other direction, buys and the retest will look good, perhaps in the 15-minute chart, something like that. And then, yeah, targets back to the high makes a lot of sense. But yeah, pretty bullish from gold now, but the breakout to the upside is still important. I wouldn't be buying just yet, especially when we're in the middle of the range there. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for gold. And in terms of the DAX, so the DAX, yeah, the DAX not looking too hot. It looks like it's becoming very, very corrective as well. So as we can see here, more or less moving in a bit of a channel. So it's a sign that the market is becoming a bit more fatigued, a bit more tired, and rightly so. The DAX has been absolutely on a crazy move for a while now. Just looking at the bigger picture, you know, it's been a while since we've been so impulsive. This is probably the last time that the DAX has seen that much momentum. So it's definitely due a correction. There might be some short-term buys as we approach the low here for another swing to the upside, but really I'll be kind of getting ready for something like this for the DAX and some shorts afterwards. Hey, appreciate it, my man. Appreciate it. No problem. Happy to help. If you guys are enjoying the stream, by the way, please be sure to drop a like on the stream. It does really help out. Subscribe to the channel as well if you do want to see more of the content. And of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But yeah, the DAX to me is looking pretty tired. I do think it's time to retrace, to be honest, especially when it's kind of taking out highs like so, and then it kind of corrects really aggressively. You don't want to see that in an upwards trend market. If the market kind of creates new highs and then retraces pretty soon afterwards, it's a clear sign that the trend is becoming a lot more fatigued and probably getting ready for a correction or a reversal. But a down move is pretty imminent. And in this instance, I'll be expecting that as well. So, and especially taking consideration the context of the market as well. All-time highs, very, very bullish, overextended. Yeah, all those signs there do point for a bit of a move to the downside for the DAX. So, yeah, I'll be getting ready for a correction for this one. UK 100. Yeah, this one's also broken some structure as well. Interesting stuff there. Looks like this one probably could see some more downside too. Probably would wait for a slightly deeper correction first. More or less something into this area. That would be a nice place for a short. So yeah, it looks like it's bearish time for the indices. I don't think buys look good now anymore. And if the indices are in a bit of a bear market, then it does mean that there's a good chance Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies will be in a bear market as well. So yeah, that doesn't ring good for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as well. And of course, judging the price action in Bitcoin too, it already doesn't look good. So yeah, more downsides probably likely with Bitcoin as well. We did pretty well respecting support here, turn resistance. Price came back into that area, respected very aggressively. We've seen a really strong rejection there. So the likelihood of us coming back to retest the high here is pretty high. Perhaps here's where we see buyers step into the market. We'll have to see. This is a hypothetical level that could hold. But in terms of if it does hold or not, we have to make that judgment when price gets there based on how we react to wicks, bullish engulfing candles, or do we just see big bearish candles, breaking the level? Then of course you can have to readjust there. But this could be a nice area for buyers. We're not too far away. Perhaps in the next few days we could be trading there. This is the daily time frame for Bitcoin, and could be discussing some longs there for Bitcoin. So I'm still overall bullish. Looking at the trend here, still very overall bullish, just like I'm overall bullish with the indices, just because we're selling off right now, expecting us to continue to sell off. It's just most likely just a bigger retracement. Same thing for Bitcoin and same thing for the other cryptocurrencies as well. Ethereum is a bit awkward though. I think we're breaking through some confluence. Yeah, that is a really harsh couple days there for Ethereum. If I go to the weekly chart, that's not what you want to see for Ethereum. That's a nice confluence here. There's some really nice support there as well. But of course, we've since broken through that. So yeah, it's made things a bit awkward. I'm not too sure with Ethereum. At least Bitcoin has seen a nice trend. We've created new all-time highs for Bitcoin. Ethereum, the previous all-time highs were created was back in 2021. Of course, we've just seen all-time highs for Bitcoin recently. So yeah, it's been a good almost 4 years because in November 2021. So it's been quite a while since we've seen new all-time highs for Ethereum, and the fact that we're breaking through support now in that area of confluence does tell me that more downside is more likely now with Ethereum as well. So maybe we could even see a push back to the low here, which is at 1K roughly, which is not a bad place to actually pick up some longs. If you're an investor of Ethereum, again, not financial advice, but if you're looking to buy and hold, I think that's actually a nice place for a buy. Because again, if you're going to invest in crypto, understand how volatile it could be and the uncertainty of it. But if you're looking at it purely from a risk to reward standpoint, if you can get in around 1K and let's say eventually price does come back to the all-time highs, which is just shy of 5K, but we'll just say 5K for mathematical sake, you can 5x your money there with Ethereum. If you invest here at 1K, hold to 5K, that's five times your investment there. So I think the risk reward is pretty nice because, of course, for you to do the exact same with Bitcoin, you're gonna need price to drop all the way to 20K, which is more or less down here if you want to get 5x on Bitcoin. We're very, very far away from 20K. Or if you're going to invest now, you need price to push, more or less to 500,000, which is all the way up there. So it's a lot harder to get a similar return on investment with Bitcoin than Ethereum. But then, of course, you would argue that Ethereum is a bit more risky to invest in. But that's the situation with investing in general. Investing in crypto is always going to be a bit more risky, but you always invest with money you can afford to lose, and that way you're not going to be too emotionally tied with the trade. But I think Ethereum, there's room to the upside there, especially with how the chart is looking, especially if you do get back to 1K. Looking at some other cryptocurrencies, XRP is not looking too great. Very bearish weekly candle close there. If I go to the daily chart or back at support, I think it's a nice short-term buy there for XRP, but longer term, it kind of looks like a bit of a head and shoulder to me there. It looks like price is struggling at the highs. I wouldn't be surprised if you do break support. Looking at XLM as well. That one's still in free fall. Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if you come back to prices down here. Still forming major lower highs. Yeah, not looking too good. But again, generally speaking, longer term, I do think we can see upsides. Just right now, judging on the indices, S&P 500, it does look like we're a bit in a bearish market for now. So if that's the case, then yeah, the cryptocurrencies probably will be as well. Dollar CHF and Aussie CHF. So yeah, as I said for dollar CHF, I'm very bearish on that one. Expecting a lot more downside for USD CHF. It's actually a pair on my watch list. Just waiting for retracement, to be honest. So this is the setup I'm looking at. You've got lovely support there. You got a trend line connecting the highs 1, 2, and 3 possibly. So looking for a price to come back and retest that low. And if things look good, catch a nice short back into support down here at 0.84. And judging dollar as a whole, I'm very bearish on USD. I'm pretty bullish on CHF as well. I'm shorting Aussie CHF. I'm expecting strength in CHF, weakness in USD. So that's a recipe for downside there for dollar CHF. And the fact we're coming from such a big level on the weekly chart as well does kind of line us up for a lot more downside. So yeah, for dollar CHF, I'm expecting us long term to push into that area. Now it's just about finding some pullbacks. There's a lot of momentum in the market as well. This is a decent level of support, and that would be a nice place to actually pull back into for some shorts. But yeah, need to actually price to retrace first. I'll take a look at Aussie CHF next. Yes, Lighton, we can look at USD ZAR as well. Do you want me to look at it on the hourly chart for you as well? So Aussie CHF, if I just kind of move my trade out of the way. So Aussie CHF still pretty bearish on this one. The key support level I've been looking at for Aussie CHF to kind of judge things has been this level here, which price is at the moment trading below. So as you can see for CHF, 1, 2, 3, 4 really aggressive rejections of this support level. And I said if price can trade below this and stay below this and possibly reject as resistance, then there's a pretty good chance that we do eventually come back into support down here. So I'm pretty bearish on Aussie CHF all the way back down to 0.853643, which is the swing low here. As long as we stay below this level here, which is roughly just above 0.56. As long as we stay below that, I'm pretty bearish on the pair. Again, the overall trend of Aussie CHF is still very much down, so That as a swing trader keeps me bearish. As long as the trend is down, I'm predominantly looking to short the down to short Aussie CHF. And now that we've broken through key support as well, that adds to the bearish bias and the likelihood that we are coming back to the wick low here and pretty much the wick low there as well. So in terms of opportunities, it's a little bit difficult. I'm not really seeing opportunities to add to the position or take new trades. Maybe if we come back and retest the level, it might look a little bit better, but it's still quite awkward the way we've broken through it. And yeah, I wouldn't really be looking for the retest of that low either there as well. So perhaps a retest of the level might be the best bet. But yeah, I'm not really seeing good entries right now for Aussie CHF. Okay, so yeah, I'll go hourly and 15, no problem. Trading chat, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Welcome. Hope you're doing good. Okay, so let's take a look at USD ZAR hourly chart. So, okay, so it's been a bit awkward because we've got this level here, which price has been trading back and forth, but hasn't been holding too well. So I did say based on how we retraced, it didn't really look too good to short, especially because how impulsive we were. So I did say yesterday, if we were to break to the upside, perhaps some longs could look really good on a retest, because at least at that point, we can use that fake out to our advantage or back above support. And then there's a strong likelihood that price would bounce to that support level and see some more upside. So I still do like the idea there on the hourly chart for USD ZAR. If we are going to respect this as resistance and perhaps get another sell back into support, that could be the case. But I'd wait for us to clear this kind of range at the moment and break to the downside. If I do drop to the 15-minute chart, because at the moment we're kind of in this area, which is more of a bullish area, because this low, it did give us that higher high past this point here as well. So this is definitely a bullish move, and price is now respecting that area. If we could break through, that's a strong indication that we probably will sell. Then you're looking for your lower highs and your shorts, and perhaps a move back to the support level there. If we're going to be rejecting that level as resistance. So I would like this level to break and look for some shorts on the retest beyond that. And then, of course, we can then target 18.05 or anything kind of roughly in that area. But yeah, on the 15-minute chart, I'd wait for something like that for USD ZAR. If I'm looking to long, then I'd wait for a clean break above. Nothing's really clean here just yet with the USD ZAR. Wait for a clean break to the upside, then some pullbacks. Oh, good. Thank you. Good to catch you live. Nice. Appreciate it, my man. Good to hear, though. Good to hear. But yeah, that's more or less what I'm looking at for USD ZAR on the hourly chart. I'm not really a big fan of how we're moving there. It's very, very flat. But if you do break to the downside for some momentum, especially on the 15, there could be some nice pullbacks there for USD ZAR. In terms of the bigger move, though, I'm still looking at these lower highs, and this to me looks like potentially might be another one for us to see a swing back into the low. So there could be a pretty nice bearish trend that does form in the next few days. If you can hold that as resistance and continue to break the lows, then yeah, I would expect that to happen. So there might be some nice swing trades, but I know you're more interested of the lower time frames. I'm not really, I don't really look to trade USD ZAR. It's not a bad pair. I have traded it a few times before. I did use to trade a few exotic currency pairs, USD peso, USD SEK a couple times, USD ZAR, and USD NOK as well. But because of the swaps and spreads were not pretty good, swaps not great either, the best way to trade them is actually just to short them, because of course they trend to the upside pretty much all the time in general. And if you're looking to hold any longs, especially as a swing trader, you're going to be paying pretty expensive swaps. So that's the main reason why I stopped trading them. But to be honest, if you're going to have a short bias or just always look for selling opportunities, it's actually not a bad proposition, especially if you're going to trade in the higher time frames. Intraday is a little bit more difficult because, like I said, the spreads are a bit more choppy. But from a swing trading point of view, if you're looking for shorts, even if you do take a break even, if you held it for like 3 or 4 days, you're probably still walking away for an okay return on that position. Of course, nothing crazy, but the positive swaps are pretty big. And of course, if you held a position for a few weeks, you can rack up some nice profits there just with the swaps alone. But at the same time, if you're looking to buy and hold longs, it will eat into your profits as well. So, and of course, because they only do push to the upside, it's a little bit more difficult to hold shorts for a while because the trend is very much up. So that's a thing to take into consideration as well. Is that yes, the shorts are good, but you have to be very precise because the trend is not your friend here. But let me go through some of the crosses, and then I'll go through some of the CAD pairs as well, because I haven't really mentioned them yet. Some of the crosses, of course, they've been so bullish. USD, Euro Aussie, they've been flying. Of course, we had the Euro strength this morning and just seeing more upside. So it's actually pretty crazy how bullish they've been. To be honest, it's kind of expected because we have been consolidating for about 2 years, pretty much. The consolidation has been happening for about 2 years. So to me, it looks like that momentum has kind of just, all that pressure's kind of cracked, and now we're seeing the explosion of that range. Whether it was going to be up to the upside or to the downside, we're finally seeing the breakout now. So it's a lot of momentum, but it makes sense because typically the bigger the range, the bigger the momentum, bigger the breakout, and bigger the momentum too. And we're kind of seeing the aftermath of that. We do have the COVID wick all the way up there. I wonder if that's where price is working its way towards 1.99266. It's been trending to the upside since the low here of Feb 2022. And perhaps with that momentum, that is where price is looking to work its way towards. So in my book, for Euro NZD, some pullbacks will look really, really good. Perhaps the retest of the high here. A nice correction, retest the high, find the next higher low, kind of continue with this pattern. Low there, higher low, another one, and perhaps that will give you the next swing to ride it to the upside, especially if those are going to be longer term targets. Again, I don't think anyone's going to be looking to trade it that far, but it's nice to know, the bigger move of the market and then trade in that direction, because you can be a bit more aggressive with your take profits if you want to. But yeah, for sure, the market is very overextended right now, and a retracement is imminent. You expect the retracement to happen in the next day or two. But again, it's always difficult when you're looking to short the market, especially a market that's very bullish like this one, because you just don't know when the top is going to form, especially where you're not really shorting from any area of confluence. You're just shorting because it's gone a little bit too far, which is never really a good idea to get into a trade, because we can always go a bit further. We can always go a bit further as well. So you're expecting a bit of a pullback, not really seeing much signs of it. Yes, we're slowing down because we're becoming a bit more corrective now. So the pullback will happen at some point. But again, you could end up taking 2, 3, 4 losses before eventually catching the pullback, and the risk reward might not even be worth it in the first place. So yeah, waiting for some pullbacks, and some longs could look pretty good with this one. Euro Aussie in the same boat pretty much. If I go to the daily chart, so again, really strong breakout. The code wick is all the way up there. I'm not too sure if we're going to head all over there. That's going to take a while. But it is safe to say that this is looking pretty bullish, and pullbacks would look nice for this one. But yeah, the most recent level is all the way down there. I'm not too sure if we're going to pull back that far. So I can understand people looking to short Euro Aussie here. It's very overextended. You're expecting a bit of a pullback, but again, I'll wait for some development here, some double tops to form, at least something that tells me, okay, price is falling a bit of a high. Now it's time to short. Yes, or maybe slowing down a little bit because you can see some more frequent corrections now, but at the same time, we could still push another 100 pips if Euro Aussie really wanted to. So I think shorts are still very aggressive play here. Yes, the market stretched, and we're likely to sell off here. But at the same time, you got to be very, very careful because we could keep pushing, and momentum could keep rallying. In terms of pound NZD and pound Aussie, they haven't been as bullish. Of course, euro has been a lot stronger. All you need to do is just go take a look at euro pound to make that call. And you can see euro pound has been flying to the upside. So, of course, euro has been a lot stronger. Hence, pound NZD and pound Aussie haven't rallied as hard, but they still rallied pretty hard. They're still looking pretty bullish. I said earlier, pound NZD is a pair which I'm keeping a close eye on. I still am keeping a close eye on for this one. I do like the resistance down here. This will be a nice level of support to buy from, 2.22. That would be a nice place to buy from if we were to get there. Of course, that might take a while, so keep an eye on it. But yeah, we're nowhere near there. We're nowhere near there. I doubt we get there this week anyway. And if I go take a look at pound Aussie as well, creating new highs, looking very, very bullish. Perhaps we're heading to the COVID highs as well. Not too far away, actually. 2.08 to 6. Yeah, not too far away. Perhaps we're heading to the COVID highs as well. So again, would want to see a bit of a pullback here for pound Aussie for some longs. In terms of the area which I would look to long from, it would be the high over there. We did have a quick breaking retest at the high here, but not a big enough pullback to get me interested. This will be the level I'll be interested in, 2.015. And of course, just swing it back to where we came from. Let's say if we formed a high here and we start to have a bit of a correction, that will be the target for the trade. I might leave some positions to run into the COVID high there if momentum did look good. But at the moment, I'll keep it relatively simple. But yeah, pound Aussie, pound NZD, euro NZD, and euro Aussie, all very, very bullish. Of course, they're all very similar pairs. So they do tend to do the same thing. But it's all looking very bullish, all kind of very stretched and very extended, which is why it's very, very difficult to just short market because it's overextended. You know, a lot of people look at the RSI indicator and they would use that to suggest the market is very overbought. If I add that to the chart here, you know, you can see RSI over here. Well, it's not overbought as much anymore, so you got a bit of divergence there, which actually is not bad. But you know, you see the market was overbought, very overbought because you had that green kind of patch there as well. You can always you can change the settings of the indicator. So this is set to 14. You can increase it to 21 if you want. You can play around with the settings, but essentially the indicator gives you when the market is overbought and when it's oversold as well. And when the market's higher up, especially above 80, that's when the market's pretty overbought. And when it's below, I would say below 20, then it's very oversold. But yeah, the market is extremely overbought. It's been overbought for a while, but it's very, very difficult to counter when that's going to happen, especially over here as well. You can see the market was overbought back here, but the market still pushed up probably another 300-400 pips before it actually did sell off. Don't get me wrong, the RSI is a good indicator to use, but you need to use it with a lot of other things as well, because you want to use it to build a picture, not rely upon. And that's the same with every tool, pretty much in the technical world, in technical trading world. Every tool is not necessarily to be relied on and used on systematically, especially if you're trading discretionary, which means that you're looking at the setup, you're looking at the context of the trade if it makes sense. Support, identifying levels of support is a great place to buy and pick trades from, but not every level of support has the same weight, the same meaning, and would make you take a trade. If you bought every support level, you probably lose money. Same if you sold at every resistance. But if you were specific and took into consideration the context of the market, other confluences, then you can make a profit trading support and resistance. But there's other information you're taking into consideration, just like the RSI. RSI can be a very powerful indicator, but you need to take into consideration other information to build a story and build a much better confluence than just, okay, the market's gone a little bit too far, so it needs to come back down, which is a good idea. If the market has gone pretty far, it's likely to come back down. But you need a bit more confirmation than that before getting to a trade. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. Zoomed out, saw consolidation. My fault was not zooming out, so I saw an uptrend support at 0.877. Okay, yeah, I remember you mentioned you're looking to buy. So yeah, you said you're looking to buy from 0.877. Okay, so you're looking to buy from here. Yeah, the thing is, it's not a bad place to buy from. I just wouldn't expect to see a big bounce because of the overall direction of where I'm expecting dollar CHF to head towards. Because this is it's a pretty big range, as you just mentioned there. It's a pretty big range in the market. You've got equal highs over there, equal lows over there. And most likely the market's probably going to make a swing back to the low. It perhaps could form a higher low and push up here, but the probability of that happening is a lot slimmer. So I would wait for price to get back to support, at least down here at 0.84 before looking to buy. Otherwise, I'm kind of buying in the middle of nowhere and not really positioning myself well. But like you said, just zooming out, looking at the bigger picture can definitely give you a bit more information in terms of the market, because a lot of the time you'd be kind of looking at the lower time frames and not taking into consideration the bigger picture of what the market's actually doing. And expanding, especially looking at the daily chart or the weekly, can give you a bit more information there for dollar CHF. But yeah, it's a nice level of support. I do think we can see a bit of a reaction, but I do expect the bigger move to break through that level and to continue. So if you're looking for a short-term trade, it's not a bad level. But if you're looking for a bigger swing, I would expect you to have a bit more joy with the shorts there. So that's really what I'm eyeing up there for dollar CHF. In fairness, DXY is pretty bearish and it does need to have a bit of retracement at some stage. So I do think some strength there for the dollar will come into play at some point. Yeah, I'm not really interested in trying to take advantage of the buys in the dollar for now. I'm very much just looking to short the DXY, short USD. Of course, once I've seen a healthy amount of retracement and we've come into a healthy area, then great. Then I'll take the shorts and take the trades I'm looking for. But yeah, I'm not interested in buying USD at all really for now. The bigger move is likely to be to the downside, so that's kind of where I want to be positioning my interest. But I like the level though, coming into a big level there on the daily chart, coming back into a strong level of support. When I'm looking to identify key levels of support resistance on the daily chart, I'm always looking for at least 2 tests though before I signal that as a big level or as a level worth trading from. So for example, this one had the first test, second test, and now a third test. So this becomes a relatively important level to focus on, especially when we're seeing really big rejections from that area there too. Likewise with support down here, first test, second test there as well. So this becomes a very interesting level to look at. Again, doesn't mean price is always going to reject it, always going to hold. Support resistance held all the time, the market would just be moving sideways. And that's not the case. So support resistance do break, but if you can identify levels where price has paid a lot of attention, there's a high chance that price does bounce at those areas and you can find some nice trades, some nice reactions from those levels. Looking through the market here as well, I mean, dollar CHF is a pretty flat pair, to be honest. So you can see a lot of resistance up here. Price tested a few times and seen quite a lot of rejections. Those are areas you want to keep very, very a lot of focus on, because when price gets there, there's a good chance we turn around. And if we don't turn around and we have a breakout, then the move afterwards could be pretty big as well. But yeah, dollar CHF trading in the middle of the range here. I would not be looking for any longer term buys from that position. Short term, yeah, of course, you can find a long opportunity, but the bigger move is likely to be a sell. And it's funny because dollar CHF price action here is not too far off what DXY is looking, which is a similar range. And after that rejection, we could be pushing back into the low of the range down here, which is essentially what I'm looking for dollar CHF to do. So if DXY does make this move down there to 101, then there's a pretty good chance that dollar CHF will make that same move back to 0.84, more or less. Probably look at this low here as well. There's a nice intermediate target, but more or less that's kind of what I'm looking at for dollar CHF to make the move into as well. In terms of, because we went through the crosses, in terms of the CAD pairs, like I said, the only CAD pair I do like right now is pound CAD. Euro CAD looks okay, but it's had a really big breakout, so I'm not too sure if I'll get the pullback. Pound CAD looks a bit more realistic. I like the fact that we had a really strong close on the weekly chart last week. So as you can see, very, very strong close there, breaking above the high here on the left. So if I drag this across, you can see that price had a pretty big close there above the level. And we broke through the highs there as well. So you've got solid resistance there. Price is broken through, left behind some solid support now. And the uptrend still looks to be very much intact. So if we were to retrace, pull back into that level, there's a pretty good chance that price does bounce at that level. And we do see a lot of upside. Looking at this as a whole, possibly we could be seeing price break out the high there and continue a lot further. But I think for now, we'll just kind of consider the pullbacks here, the retest, and a push back to the high. So I like pound CAD. Aussie CAD and New Zealand CAD, they've been a bit more tough to look into and trade. They've been a little bit all over the place. Price action hasn't been particularly great. I've been looking for price to get back into support down there. But yeah, I haven't really found really good opportunities to trade it. It's been very flat, as we can see, in this kind of big bear flag pattern. So I'm looking for us to break to the downside, but not really finding the best opportunities for it. I mean, so far, it looks like price is doing a pretty good job at respecting resistance, especially if I go to the daily chart. You can see all we're doing is leave behind a lot of wicks. So that tells me that from a daily perspective, a lot of these bullish moves I'm seeing in the lower time frames are just fake outs. Price trying to break it through once, twice. They're probably just taking a lot of stop losses above the high here, which might flush and get ready for a nice sell there. So I do like Aussie CAD because of that, and possibly could push to the low. And if we do, then yeah, I'm expecting us to get back into major support. Reason being, because I'm looking at all of these to be lower highs, and same situation with then. If that is a lower high, then you can expect to see a push back down into this area here. So dollar CHF, I've got dollar CHF on the brain now. Aussie CAD to me looks like a nice short in terms of the bigger move. In terms of the entries, it's a little bit more up in the air. I mean, if you can get in a stop loss above the high here, I think you're relatively in a safe position. But because it's such a choppy pair, I wouldn't be surprised if you see another big wick there. But it would be safe if you can get a stop loss above the high there and try and see if you can capitalize on the swing. Same thing for New Zealand CAD as well. This one I'm pretty bearish on too, looking for a pretty big swing back into support, which is down into this level here at 0.795. That's the bigger move I'm looking for. Similar to Aussie CAD, you can see price is respecting resistance pretty well here. So we pushed into that level once. We got rejection there a few times, big wick to the upside. So again, prices try to break through, but failed in respect to resistance. Again, if I zoom out, look at the bigger picture here for Aussie CAD, you can see the consistency and all of these lower highs there as well. So long term, perhaps New Zealand CAD is making its way back down to support there. Hence, I've been looking for a pretty big bearish swing. And if we can maintain that resistance, then I would expect us to see a nice sell back into support. down at 0.79500 there. So pretty bearish here for New Zealand CAD as well. In terms of entries and the stop loss. Again, if you can get stop loss above the high there, I think you're in a safe place or safer place. And if you can get some entries in this area here, you're looking at a nice trade idea. Basically, a bit of a flag pattern here. So there's one correction, there's two, and then you're looking for that continuation there. So like a big bear flag. Although the reason why I don't like it as much is because this move has been so corrective on the way down. If this was more of an impulsive move, so he pushed harder and then had the bull flag or bear flag, sorry, then that would be something I'll be interested in. But a corrective move to another corrective move is nothing really that gets me excited to trade. I want to see much more momentum in the market than that, which is why I like the dollar opportunities, because the dollar opportunities have had some really heavy momentum. Of course, if we drop to the 4-hour chart, really big move there. Look how clean that move is. Just bearish candle after bearish candle, a lot of momentum. So if we do see some upside, the probability is just, number one, going to be a pullback. And the probability of price seeing a lower high and continuing the bearish path is pretty high as well. Versus New Zealand cow, it's very, very corrective and all over the place. We could still see the continuation, absolutely, but in terms of the clean, in terms of the price action, I wouldn't say it's as likely. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. And that's a big difference between taking really good trades and just okay trades. A bear flag is still a bear flag, a bull flag is still a bull flag, but in different scenarios, in different contexts, and in different situations, there could be a really good bull flag with a high probability of playing out, and there could be an okay one with a low probability of playing out. The goal of trading is to take a lot of the good ones and keep the okay ones to a minimum, if possible, to a zero, really, because your win rate will benefit from that, and your overall profitability as well. So DXY looking really good there. I like the momentum, looking for pullbacks. New Zealand CAD not so much. And of course, EuroCAD's been so bullish. We've been absolutely flying to the upside for the past few days here. You can see on the daily chart. I was originally looking for the retest of the highs down there, but it's doable. It's pretty far away, but I wouldn't be totally shocked if we did see a retracement there, especially of where we're coming into. Big consolidation here on the left. That gave us a really big drop. Perhaps we might see some sellers come into the market, and a lot of buyers probably exiting as well, because it's been such a big move. So you probably would expect to see them take some profit now, and possibly get ready for a bit of a turn in bias. So EuroCAD, the pullback to 1.52 does look like a nice place for a trade and entries. It's just, of course, price has been so bullish, so it's going to take a while for us to actually get there. Pound CAD, not so much. Still a little bit far away, but a little bit more realistic, especially when euros being a lot stronger than pound. And I also like the break of structure there as well. But they're essentially the same opportunity, really. Both breaking through really big resistance, leaving behind strong support without a retest. If you can see a pullback there, it will be a nice place to get a trade and find some longs. So very bearish on pound CAD. I'm expecting CAD to lose its weakness and finally gain a bit of strength as well. So that should help out that move as well. And of course, another CAD pair, which I'm actually trading. Dollar CAD there too, which of course already had a really big move to the upside. Now I'm expecting this to retrace in the opposite direction. So we'll see how that trade gets on. I think for the trade to really get going to need some CAD strength, because USD is already weak, but so is CAD. And that will help the retracement on the CAD pairs. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the CAD pairs. In terms of the other crosses like Euro Pound and Aussie New Zealand dollar, these are a bit more corrective. Don't really have too much going on for these ones. In fact, for Euro Pound, I do like this opportunity here. There is a nice double top opportunity around here. If we can push into 0.848, I think that's a nice place for a short. Tag the trend line, tag the resistance level, maybe break the highs a little bit there as well. I think that would be a nice place for a short. Doesn't have to be as big as that, of course, but roughly in that area. I think that would be a nice place to short euro pound, look for some entries in that level. And then targets, of course, if you're looking for the full swing, possibly back down to support here as well if you're looking for, the continuation of the trend. But euro pound, in all fairness, has been trending to the downside pretty well. We've got this trend, this channel which has been going on for a while. And if we are going to remain in the channel, then you would expect price to reject that high there and continue selling off as well. So I'm pretty bearish on euro pound for now. As long as we can hold 0.845, we're likely to see another lower high as well. So if you look to trade euro pound, I'll keep a close eye on that area. Aussie New Zealand dollar, I don't really have too much to say with this one, to be honest. It's very, very corrective, very choppy, and I don't really have a good opportunity for this one. All I can say is that we're really failing to break through resistance there. Perhaps is the market hitting a bit of a top, maybe. We do have all these successive high lows, which looks like prices starting to break through. We've got one over there, second there, third, fourth, fifth. Now price is back at support again. Do we respect it and push to the upside, or do we break through? I feel like if you can break through this, take out some of the lows with it, then that will end up being a nice confirmation or a nice signal for shorts. A lot more downside for Aussie New Zealand dollar, because then that will become potentially the top for this correction and we might see a big sell. But apart from that, I don't really see an opportunity with Aussie New Zealand dollar. Just a very choppy pair, a lot of sideways movement, a lot of wicks. Doesn't move too well, as you can see. Very, very choppy. Again, there will be times where there'll be really nice trades with this one and really nice entries. But for the most part, it's just a very, very choppy pair and not much to deal with. So staying away from Aussie, New Zealand dollar until we see some clarity. Potentially a move like that would give us some clarity, but otherwise not really interested. And in terms of the CHF pairs, Euro CHF was very bullish this morning. Of course, Euro just very, very bullish this morning across pretty much all currency pairs. This one did have a really nice break and retest of the resistance here, turned support. Price came back, respected it very, very well. And then we've had a pretty nice continuation. Altogether, it looks like this support level on the daily chart is pretty much held well. As you can see, a lot of support there once, twice, a third time there too. And now we've had a big push to the upside there. I wonder if we're going to push coming back into that trend line. That might be where we're headed towards. But it's funny because Euro CHF has been looking pretty bullish for a while. Ever since the low here back in November last year, we've kind of been slowly pushing to the upside, whereas Aussie CHF has been on a decline. So this one's been falling to the downside. If you look at New Zealand CHF, that one's been on a decline as well, falling to the downside too. So you can see the difference between Euro and NZD and Euro and Aussie, because they're both partnered against CHF currency. But Aussie CHF and New Zealand CHF has been heading down, whereas Euro CHF has been heading up. And of course, if you look at Euro Aussie and Euro NZD, you're looking at very bullish markets there right now. Yeah, Euro Aussie, NZD, you can see the correlation there in all its glory. So it's been an awkward one in terms of CHF pairs, because some have been bullish, some have been bearish. Altogether, I'm pretty bearish, on the CHF pairs, bullish on the CHF currency. So that is still the longer term move I'm looking for. But as Euro's been so strong, perhaps we do get a bit of a pullback, maybe form another lower high up there like we did over there and did over there, perhaps before we do get another swing. So Euro CHF is definitely not ready to be shorted just yet, still showing a lot of signs of bullish momentum. Pound CHF in the same boat-ish. This one as well has been very awkward to trade. We've got a really big level of resistance there, big level of support there, and price has been incredibly flat for a while. It looked as if we were getting a big breakout there, but didn't really add up to much. Now it looks like is price retesting, is price about to break through? It's unclear to see right now, pound CHF. So I'm kind of waiting for us to make a move and either clear the level or break back underneath, just so I can get some clarity. Either which way, it's just looking very awkward right now. What's up, everything about music? Hope you're well. Please, can you look at Bitcoin? Okay, I'll take a look at Bitcoin for you. BCH USDT. Okay. Okay, so with is this the right one? I think so. BTCH USDT. Okay, if it's not the right one, let me know. It looks like a mixture of Ethereum and Bitcoin and something else. But anyway, it's at a nice level for support. It has respected it pretty well on the daily chart. Yeah. Uh, I mean, judging on how things are looking, it probably is going to break through that, to be honest, especially looking at what actually Bitcoin is doing as well. So let me know what time frame you're working on. You know, how are you looking to trade this? Are you looking for swing trades or day trades? Let me know. But judging, especially with that momentum there, big push coming straight back down, I'll be expecting a bit of a correction and another push back into support. We might have another bounce at that support level, but I do think eventually it's probably going to break. But yeah, on the 4-hour chart, I'll be looking at something like this for another sell. Yeah, expecting a push back into where we came from. So back to 277 and probably more than that as well. What's up, follow the trend, welcome to the stream. No problem, man. Back in Bangkok. Okay, nice. Bangkok, Thailand. That is definitely a place on the list of places I need to check out. I've heard good things about Bangkok. Okay, yes, the right one. Trading the 4-hour time frame, swing trade, bearish move. Yeah, I agree. It does look like price just from another lower high, especially with that bullish move, and then we're coming back so strongly. So that bullish move there, and then we reversed so well. So the likelihood of us pushing back to 280 looks pretty high there. So I'll be expecting a lot more downside for this one. Gold's a mess. I think I will take it easy this week as it's a news fundamental bloodbath. Okay, fair enough. Technicals choppy as hell. I agree. Again, if things are not looking clear, there's no point looking to trade it. That's the time you're gonna lose money most likely. Very rarely do you kind of trade, choppy, weird markets and consistently make good returns. Otherwise, you wouldn't be so pessimistic when those type of conditions do come around. So yeah, that's the time you're going to give back a lot of your profits to the market. So best keep trading those environments to a minimal. Only trade it when it's absolutely necessary because the setup looks really, really good for whatever reason. But yeah, I do agree. Gold has looked very choppy, hasn't looked clean for a while. What I would say though is either which way, once price does get a breakout, either price is of course going to break to the high there, so back to the all-time high or back to the low. I did say earlier that potentially this might be a bit of a fake out there for gold in terms of the range. So if we do get price clears the high, then there's a good chance that price does push back to the high of the range. So I think if you're looking at maybe the 15-minute chart, something around that time frame there to refine your risk properly and make use of this range. I feel like if we can get a nice break to the upside, there's a good chance that price does push back to the high. So I think that could be a nice opportunity. Of course, if price stays within the range and we kind of just uh, bounce back and forth, then I would completely avoid trading gold if we stay within the range. But maybe if we get a breakout, possibly a bit of news gives us a bit of a boost at some point in time. Then if you're trading above 29.25, which is where I've got the high, then yeah, I expect us to push back into the high at 29.54. So that's more or less what I'm looking at for gold. Exactly. Take it easy and wait for the money to come to you 100%. Don't chase it. So yeah, exactly. Same for a lot of things in life. Same for a lot of things in life. Not just those two situations, but that's a good lesson there. A lesson for the charts and off the charts. No problem, man. Happy to help. But yeah, in terms of my sake, it's going to keep an eye on dollar CAD. Not a lot I can do in terms of the management. Just let price do its thing. And of course, obviously, Chef I've already taken most of my profits, so there's not much to do there. I'll let the market do its thing. My stop loss is still trailed all the way up there. There's kind of nowhere else for me to trail it to. So unless I wanted to trail it here, but that's just way too aggressive. So I'm keeping it there for now. Hopefully we can create some more structure and I can trade it down some more. But for now, we're going to see how that gets going. Euro yen is probably my closest pair to give me a trade. I'm looking for some shorts around 162. So going to keep an eye on that. But yeah, looking for a big sell for that one as well. No problem. Happy to help. Everything about music. But yeah, guys, we have approached the end of the stream. If you have found it useful, please be sure to drop a like on the stream. It does really help out. Subscribe to the channel. And of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that in the description below and also at the top of the chat. You can find out a lot more information about Elevating Traders, updates there. You can chat with other traders, join the community, chat with myself. I share ideas there. You can do as well. So if you do want to join in the discussions, go check it out. Completely free to join. Link in the description and also at the top of the chat. But guys, do appreciate you tuning into another stream. I'll be live again tomorrow. I'm live again every weekday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you're free, pop in, come say hi, come chat with us, and have a good time. But guys, appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day. I'll catch you all in the next one.